Do you remember a time when happiness wasn't something you scrolled into? When life happened outside, not inside a device? When fun meant movement, not notifications? And silence wasn't awkward, it was normal. If you're Gen X, this isn't nostalgia. This was your environment. Gen X, born between the mid-60s and early 80s, grew up in a world that didn't constantly guide them. There were no tutorials for life, no instant answers, no digital safety net. You learned by observing, by trying, by failing quietly, and by fixing things yourself. Psychologically, this matters. Gen X developed in a world that demanded self-direction. You walked places alone. You solved problems without outside validation. You learned patience because waiting was unavoidable. That kind of childhood builds something rare today: internal stability. You weren't raised to expect the world to adjust to you. You learned how to adjust to the world. That doesn't make Gen X emotionally distant. It makes them resilient. Mental health wasn't openly discussed back then, but that didn't mean emotions didn't exist. It meant emotions were processed internally. Stress was handled, not announced. Struggles were carried quietly. Psychology calls this emotional endurance, the ability to function even when things aren't ideal. Gen X learned how to sit with discomfort without panicking, how to keep going without applause, how to normalize effort. That's why many Gen X adults appear calm under pressure. Not because life is easy, but because chaos feels familiar. You grew up in balance. Rules existed, but freedom did too. You were trusted to figure things out, and that trust shaped confidence. Your brain developed in a slower world, one that allowed focus, boredom, and deep thinking. Boredom wasn't avoided, it was survived, and boredom builds imagination. That's why Gen X often doesn't need constant stimulation. You can unplug without anxiety. You know who you are without proving it online. The generations after you grew up fast, with speed, connection, and constant input. They're expressive, they're creative, they're loud. But Gen X is grounded. You adapted to technology instead of being shaped by it. You lived before it and learned after it. That makes you the bridge generation. You understand both worlds. Psychology shows that people who grow up with fewer distractions develop stronger attention, better problem-solving skills, and higher tolerance for uncertainty. That's Gen X, quietly capable, practically strong, emotionally steady. You don't announce your strength, it shows in how you handle life. And here's the real truth. Gen X was strong before strength became content, resilient before resilience became a hashtag, independent before independence was romanticized. So if you're Gen X, understand this. Your childhood didn't make you outdated. It made you solid. Your calm hides experience. Your silence carries wisdom. And your stability is earned. Let me ask you something. When you think about your childhood, what do you feel? Gratitude, pride, or quiet nostalgia? Tell me in the comments. What part of growing up do you miss the most? And if this perspective resonated with you, subscribe. This channel explores the psychology behind who we are, without noise, without exaggeration.